Hello ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for tuning into this short screen tutorial on how to answer the 10-mark questions of Paper 1 in the Edexcel IGCSE History exam in the year 2014. Now it's important you invest some time and effort getting acquainted with the format of the questions and what constitutes a successful answer, because you're going to have to answer 2 of these questions in Paper 1, and that's going to add up to 20% of your final IGCSE history mark. So if you invest some time and effort getting it right, it should pay off in the long run. We're going to focus today on a question from the exemplar specification, and it's here right in front of you. So the format of the D or 10-mark questions is going to be study the source below and answer the question that follows. Now, irrespective of whether it's your first or second 10-mark question, so Nazi Germany or civil rights, you'll get a source, a very, very short one, that you need to read through and incorporate into your answer. So there it is. Now, the question in this instance is use the source and your own knowledge to explain the changes in the position of women in Nazi Germany in the years 1933 to 39. So in this instance, we're looking to explain the changes in the position of women between these years. Now, it's important that, given we've been given a source by Edexcel, we use the source and incorporate it into our own answers, as well as some own knowledge. So do not forget the source. All right, let's have a look at the success criteria for this question. So we'll go straight in here to level 4, because we all want to score between 8 and 10 marks, 8 being the very least, 10 being the top, and that's what we want to achieve. So let's have a look. So we need a developed explanation and analysis of more than one factor using the source and own knowledge. So already we know we need to include more than one factor, so we need to write about more than one thing in our answer, and we need to use the source, and we need to use some own knowledge too. So we need, in essence, 2 factors, use the source in our answer, and our own knowledge. So let's move further down. It says, at this level, the explanation should show how the causes led to the outcome. Now note causes, that means more than one because it's plural, and how they combined or united or integrated in some way to lead to the outcome. Now, if we go back to the question, let's have a look. Where is it? Where have I hidden it? It is here, right. So explaining the changes in the position of women in Nazi Germany, 33 to 39. So we need to explain how our causes led to the outcome. Now, we've got some example answers there, which aren't exhaustive, so that's not everything you could put, but it's an indicative example of the sort of things that Edexcel might be looking for. So the employment opportunities for women became much more restricted in Nazi Germany, as we know, as they were pushed out of the workforce to make way for men. They had stayed in the home for the 3 Ks, church, cooking and kinder. However, the most important change was to place married women at the centre of family life. So there we have an example. So we need, for 9 to 10 marks, answers which show how the causes combined, so how they were linked in some way to lead to the changes in the position of women. That's what we're looking for. Okay. Now, if we take a retrospective look back at some of the 10-mark questions we've seen in the past, from 2010 onwards, we have seen just here, explain the problems faced by the Weimar Republic in the years 1919 to 1923. We have seen in the past, using the source and your knowledge, explain why Germany experienced a period of recovery in the Stresemann era. We've also seen explain how the position of the Jews in Germany changed in the years 33 to 39. I think that was the 2013 question. And here we have the exemplar format. Okay. So always explaining a change or how things have modified in some way over a period of time. Right. Before we get cracking, let's just remember our Pico format. So give a point, evidence, explain it, link back to the question, your K, and then link to your next factor, because you need to show how they combine to cause the outcome. So point, evidence, explain, Keep to the question, so write a sentence explaining how it's relevant to your question, then link to your next factor. Always bearing in mind the source. Now, to make things a little bit complex, I'm going to show you a good example from 2013. So if we look at the 2013 question, it was explain how the position of Jews in Germany changed in these years using the source. So let's look at a good example, a successful example from 2013. So what do we see here? Well, the candidate has got us kicked off with the source. As mentioned by the source, Jews were beginning to lose their authority in Germany in 1933. And instantly, we have the use of the source here, because we can see the speech bubbles. So the candidate has instantly referred to the question. They have instantly used the source and instantly used that leading language to explain how their answer is relevant to the question. So one reason why Hitler wanted to do this was to make Germany a racially pure country. So it's a fantastic opening short paragraph there, which is linked to the source, linked to the question, and is focused on the question as well, and using that leading language. So a fantastic first paragraph there to get us going. Let's go back to the question. So we need to explain how the position of Jews changed in Nazi Germany. Remember, we're going to need more than one factor. They're going to need to show how they're combined to link to that outcome. All right, so here we go. We have in this chunk here an example of the source being used again, an explanation of how it's linked to the question, and here we have that relevant or specific contextual knowledge. He introduced the Nuremberg laws, so no examiner can argue with that because it's factually correct, and linked it back to the source as well. Fantastic. Here we have the second feature. Their position in society further decreased when Jews were dismissed from their jobs. So the candidate there has shown how they're linked together, or how those two factors have combined to reach the outcome. So very, very clever bit of examination technique. Again, linking in with that specific contextual knowledge. This was done by sacking Jewish people and replacing them with the unemployed. Now, we know one way that Hitler almost cooked the unemployment figures was by moving women out of the workforce, so they didn't count anymore, freeing up their jobs for men, but also making Jews unemployed and prohibiting them from accessing employment too. So, excellent contextual knowledge there, and it's factually correct. No examiner can argue with that. So we've got our two factors with a nice link in between them as well. If we reduce this down so we can get both the factors in to conclude, extra contextual knowledge there by talking about Kristallnacht, using the source once more. So throughout, the candidate has managed to integrate source and known knowledge, brilliant practice, and they've concluded by overall the German Jews had lost citizenship and jobs, finding themselves unfairly targeted by the Nazis. So go back to the question, if we may. Explain how the position of Jews in Germany changed in those years. Has the candidate done that? They certainly have. They've got the two factors linked together, and they've shown in this final paragraph down the bottom here how they've combined to cause that outcome. So let's once more return to our success criteria, which is here. Have they given a developed explanation and analysis? Yes, they have. Lots of detail. All factors are fully explored. Have they used more than one factor? They certainly have. They've explained at least two there. Have they used the source or known knowledge? Well, definitely. They've integrated both of those throughout very, very harmoniously as well. They've moved almost effortlessly between using the source back to own knowledge, source and known knowledge. It says at this level the explanation should show how the causes lead to the outcome. They certainly do. They've explained the two causes, their relationship towards each other, and then how they cause the outcome. For 9 and 10 marks, that's reserved for answers which show how the causes combine to produce the outcome. Has it done that? Well, yes, I would argue that answer's done it throughout. It's done it whilst explaining and analysing the two factors, and it's done it with a final paragraph at the end. So I suggest you replicate that format You have your first factor using the source of known knowledge, link it to a second factor using the source of known knowledge, then have a final conclusion paragraph which again demonstrates to the examiner how those causes have combined to produce the outcome. Just get rid of that, apologies. So I hope that helps. Now in terms of timing, hopefully you'll have about 15 to 20 minutes to spend on this answer if you've used your time wisely. You don't want to use any more than 20. If you do, you'll be taking time elsewhere and borrowing it when you can't afford to do that. So 20 minutes at the absolute maximum. You want to make sure you've got two factors at least which are linked and a conclusion which shows how the causes combine to produce that outcome. So 20 minutes for each 10-mark question. I hope that helps. If you've got any questions, please do message me at HistoryChappy, that's my Twitter name, or via the website www.historychappy.com. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Goodbye.